Welcome to Blacklight on Sports. My name is Charles Hallman.
I'm Dr. Mitchellpalmermcdonald.
Thank you for joining us today as we have a young man who we have known for a long time, and we are welcoming Dr. John Baker. The doctor is surprising me. I got to learn all that. Thank you for being a part of us today.
Nah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's real good.
John is just, we've known you for a long time. Known you
Yeah.
before all the hair on your head and all that
Everything.
stuff.
Ever since Clyde Turner.
Ever since Clyde Turner.
Yeah.
But you have done a lot in this community. You was part of the community and you stayed part of this community even as an adult. So talk about some of the things you've done growing up and then now where you at today.
Well, I'm from North Minneapolis, born and raised, played for Minneapolis North High, worked in the Minneapolis public schools, and I also have a small business in North Minneapolis. And I also run a nonprofit called Be the Change MN.
Okay.
So that's kind of me in a nutshell.
The Be the Change, man, I'm really impressed by that. So just explain what that is all about.
Yeah, well, it kind of started about 5 years ago when we were going through the pandemic and COVID. And I just wanted to know how could I get involved and really do my part. A lot of people were marching and protesting. Nothing against that. Definitely, I felt it was needed at the time. But I was like, well, what could I do and just do my small part?
Yeah.
So I started a golf tournament that raise money for smaller nonprofits. There's a big difference between a small nonprofit and just a medium nonprofit.
Okay.
A smaller nonprofit, they usually have an operating budget under 300,000 or less. And at that time, I felt there were a lot of the smaller nonprofits really doing a lot of work when these kids couldn't go to the parks and the schools were closed and a lot of other outlets were just shut down because of COVID and George Floyd. So, but these smaller nonprofits were still feeding these kids, providing a safe space, and but they needed support. So me and a couple other people got together and was like, well, man, Wall said we could golf. So we know corporations like to golf, and I knew a lot of community leaders, and other people in the community, and people wanted to get out. So I threw a golf tournament where we raised money for these smaller nonprofits. We gave each one of these small nonprofits $10,000, so they would write in and tell their need and their mission. And we did the golf tournament. Not only did we raise money, but we were able to extend that relationship with the larger corporations that we were connected to, like the General Mills, the Targets, the Thrivents, and we had a lot of the CEOs there. North Memorial played a huge part. They take a lot of flack, but they really showed up in our neighborhood, to be like one of our main funders of this tournament, where it was just really way more than just golf. You come to our tournament, I tell people, hey, it's about 5%, not the best golf tournament, but when it comes to like relationships and connecting people, this is the place. So we got a chance to have 36 community leaders, and they included like smaller nonprofits, and we got a chance to join them with the corporations. So 5 hours out on the golf course with these not smaller nonprofits and these corporations, you start to form some kind of relationship that they could take off the course. So we end up raising maybe 180,000 in 4 weeks for this tournament. So we're able to give these grants out and start these relationships with these corporations that normally don't come into our inner city, at Theodore Worth Golf Course. And so we did it another year, and it just took off. And we got a chance to invite the community too. So we're like, man, we really got something here. So we started getting more corporations that were interested in being part of the tournament. Now the tournament just sells out, you know. So not only that would be the change, I just thought that was just one small part. And then there was what we call Winter Wonderland. I was like, man, these schools, they just need another outlet before they go into Christmas break. So I decided to adopt like Nellie Stone Johnson. It's a small elementary school. They probably have about 250 students before they go into Christmas break, you know, or their winter break. And we just came in, we transformed the whole school. We know, Mitch, you're a teacher. Sometimes the teachers and these parents don't have the greatest relationships because you know you always got to call home, or the parents not showing up. We had a chance to bring everybody together on just a human level with this Winter Wonderland.
Yeah.
We just transformed the school. We made like the gymnasium like a festival, you know, where they could just play games and arts and crafts, and Q Bear in the other gym had like a disco. Children's Minnesota
Cool.
gave every kid, every family $100 gift card, you know. I mean, it was just so many people showing up. We had free bikes for kids come through, and they gave every kid in that school a bicycle, you know. Yes, yes. I mean, and we brought in some of our top local chefs and just really treated our families like they should be treated. You know, anything you would get out in Edina, like past appetizers
Yeah.
or, you know, mocktail stations, we gave it to our kids and families. So I mean, I was like, it was the greatest feeling for me that I was able to give back like that and provide them with something that they can take with them over that break, that week break, which we know gets tough because they don't get the stability that they would normally get, some of the families. So and we had books for the kids. I mean, and we did one thing, we reached out to the private schools with some of the kids of color, like the Brecks and the Blakes and the Minnehaha. And what we did was we recruited junior ambassadors. And these kids were nervous at first. He's like, we don't know what to do. I said, no, you're going to come in because you are our leaders of tomorrow. So we did a little training with them. And man, they went and they were spokesmen for their schools. So they talked in front of their classmates on how to come back and get involved and come to the north side, you know, and kind of work with our kids and families. It's not what you see on TV. And, you know, and man, these kids at the end of our period for working with Winter Wonderland, they were like talking on TV. They were fully invested in our community, you know, because some of these kids are like privileged, but they got a chance to come back and just give back. And I mean, it was like the greatest feeling. So with Winter Wonderland, I mean, we kind of just knocked it out the box. Everybody was happy. But, you know, with me, I'm like, that's just not good enough, you know. I'm like, hey, if we can make that feeling at one school, why can't we add three more schools? So the next year came around, and I'm like, where do you add? Where do you do an event where you got three schools? You know, and that's probably over 850 to 1,000 kids. And when you bring your family members, that's like 3,000 people. And I'm like, man, but I, you know, it just kept itching me. I want to do this because I mean, I need to have everybody having this type of feeling, you know, before they go into that break. So somebody on my staff was like, man, I know somebody at Mall of America. And I was like, oh man, that's like perfect, you know? So, you know, I didn't know how it was going to go. So I went and I talked to them all. I told them what we did at that small school at Nellie Stone Johnson. And they said, man, we love that. So they did a partnership with us last year where they gave us like $175,000 in kind donation, and they gave us a Nickelodeon. They shut it down from 8 to 4, and They provide all free wristbands, and they let us bring in chefs. They basically hand us over the keys
Mm.
to the Mall of America just for our people. So we
Man.
had 3,000 people out there from North Minneapolis, riding rides, eating goods. We brought all our chefs. We had Toys for Tots was out there. We had gifts. We took away all the burdens that you basically could have when you come out to the Mall of America. We transportation, Metro Transit teamed up with us. They were like, no, we'll give you bus passes for that day and train passes. We sent like 3 buses to the school. So the kids, you could ride the bus or you could ride the train. Like I said, we had chefs, we had gifts, we had face painters, we had candy stations. We had everything you would want if you come out to Mall of America. And one thing people don't know, which I was kind of naive, is everybody can't go to the Mall of America.
Right.
If you got 3 kids, your funds are limited. That's not just how you're going to spend your money. And plus, when you get out there, your kid is going to want to do all these things and you just can't. So, I mean, the parents were just so graceful and thankful that they could come out here and have that opportunity. So it was, I mean, now that was something else to see all our kids just having the mall called it a VIP experience like we give the Vikings.
Okay.
They post up guards all around Nickelodeon and no one can just walk in. It's just for our families. So I mean, and we had a lot of great sponsors that like helped out with this event. So this year we're doing it again. The mall said you must bring that event back, and it's like bigger and better. I mean, we're kicking off a Kicks and Coats campaign this year because I just feel that our kids need winter jackets, but the winter jackets that I'm gonna give them are going to be great winter jackets. They're going to be like when I grew up. You're going to be able to pass it down or wear it another year. And then we're doing this campaign to get tennis shoes for the kids. 850 tennis shoes for our pre-K through 5th grade. So that's 850 kids we're buying tennis shoes for. So we're doing a campaign now. It's called Kicks and Coats. So we're trying to lean on the community a little bit and donate. But let me back up 1 minute. We also just did a back to school food giveaway at Nellie Stone Johnson also.
Okay.
So we gave away 2 bags of culturally relevant groceries. I want to make a point with that because sometimes we tend to give our families that are in need just anything. So we purposely didn't use any food shelters. We went to the community, said, hey, we're going to raise this money together and we're going to give each family 2 bags of culturally relevant groceries. We're going to give good school supplies and we're going to do a soul food picnic. So, and one thing a lot of people don't know about a lot of our kids, they're in school and they don't have the proper shots, because financial barriers are, the parents just can't take them. So we teamed up with Nellie Stone Johnson and Children's Minnesota again, and we brought the bus there that gives out the school shots during that back to school event. So the bus came, they gave kids their school shots, and I mean it was great. And another shout out is to the Timberwolves. So the Timberwolves also came. They did voter registration. They brought Jaden McDaniels. He came, he handed out groceries. I mean, he's just, man, he's a stellar guy. The front office from the Timberwolves came and handed out groceries and served food. And I mean, it was just such a great community effort that, I had to take my hands out to all the volunteers that came. We probably had over 50 volunteers, Coach McKenzie, and a lot of other people from the neighborhood just showed out. The place was packed. And just on top of that, just to see those families getting to bring those groceries home, of stuff they're really gonna fix and that
Okay.
they eat, you know. So yeah, so I'm sorry I had to back up for that, but so like I said, we have Winter Wonderland coming up. It's December 8th. We'll be doing it with Nellie Stone Johnson, City View, um, who else is Bethune and Jenny Lynn. Those are the four schools we'll have this year. We had three last year. We are adding one more. So, I mean, people are signing up. It's going to be great. We're going to get these kids what they need. And the last event we do a big career and college fair. You know, one thing that I believe in is these kids need to know their pathway into their career or if they want to go to college. But I think sometimes we stick them in these gymnasiums with this career fair, and this is the most important aspect of their life, you know, and they have to be shown different things of what to do, you know, in different avenues and see people that look like them. So I was like, man, we should just rent out the orchestra hall to the somewhere where a lot of our kids have never been. So we bring 600 students of colors and newcomers to orchestra hall, and we have a career fair. We have probably over 60 vendors from thriving to colleges, and we just make it a really fun experience for the kids. We have the Minneapolis police, we have the fire department, we have a DJ, you know, we bring the vibe, and we have some great panelists. So we had five people on our panel. We had Henry Lake moderating one half, and then we had Alexis Rogers, which is doing she's from Channel 11, doing some amazing stuff in our city. She's not even from here, and she's jumped right into our community and just tearing it up, like, you know, forcing people to make change, you know. But this career fair, if you could come, man, you guys wouldn't believe it. Kids are not on their phones. They're one of our biggest complaints of our career fair is like it's too short. You know, they're like, man, it's too short. We have workshops for the kids, you know, dress to impress, financial literacy. We had a big AI workshop that they can attend. It's just so much going on during our career fair and opportunities. We have internships. They can actually get jobs there, you know. We're really starting to work with a lot of these corporations on the workforce. We're like telling them like, hey, this is you got a workforce problem that we got the solution right here. These kids in high school, you know, and they're really starting to listen. So we've had a couple of conversations with some corporations on like what does that look like for that senior that's about to graduate and he doesn't know what he wants to do. How does he get that entry level job, or show him how he can work his way up without even going to college, you know? And I just think there's so many different avenues and there's so many different careers. A lot of our sports teams, they support us during this career fair too. Just letting kids know you can do more than just be on the court, you know? So, I mean, that's a great event too that we throw, and it's just a lot of exposure. And like I said, the kids are really engaged. They're rock stars. And those are just a couple of the things that I'm up to, you know.
Yeah, yeah. You know, did you see yourself doing this? I say maybe when you were in high school, or even when you went on to college. Or when you were younger, did you see yourself like you know, doing this? Like did
no,
what were your aspirations then before you?
not even
Now
5 years ago. I mean,
Okay.
I just woke up and it just happened,
I'm like,
and it just spiraled into something. You
Yeah.
know, I never thought I would even be running a nonprofit or
Right.
anything. You know,
Right.
that is
So
not
5 years ago, you didn't see
No,
that.
I didn't even see
Okay.
this,
All
but
right.
you know, I just care so much about my community.
Mhm.
North Side's been great to me, I had a great upbringing with
Mm-hmm.
just going to Minneapolis North High,
Mm-hmm.
and just the support that I've always gotten, just like from your dad, from
Mm-hmm.
Kwame, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just, how can I not just give back, just a little bit of what I can control.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I was always wondering, like, as you were talking, I'm sitting here like, you've done things that it takes, people, 10 years to do,
No.
and it's real interesting to hear, and, for our listeners, um, how you can do, it's never too late, to
Oh
do
yeah.
what you want to do, or maybe what you were destined to do, or to find it. Because sometimes, you get around our age, and if you haven't done anything yet, to you, you think that there's not another chance or anything like that, but there's always hope to do what you want to do.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just sit back and complain,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and there's so many outlets where you can just go volunteer or
Mm-hmm.
help one kid, or so you know, I'm just not a complainer. I'm a doer,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much effect I'm making or what,
Mm-hmm.
but I just thought it's important to not just sit by the wayside and see our community just die.
Mm-hmm. Now you said you were in Clyde Turner's camp.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, we always smile when we talk about Clyde.
Yeah, with Charles and
Yeah.
I mean
What are as you look back, because you don't, when you're in the camp, you're not thinking you're learning anything. You're just out there
I'm
balling.
just out here.
You out there hooping.
Yeah.
But as you
Yeah.
but as you look back, as you look back at those
Man.
days at camp, are there some things that, you might look back at now and go, you know what? There were some things I learned by being at the camp, being with Clyde, being in touch with Charles, those type of things.
Man, just Charles and Clyde when you're younger, you don't realize how amazing they are
Exactly.
and
Yep.
how much time they spend in our community and
Mm-hmm.
invested in us.
Yeah. Yes.
Even with Clyde, I could just remember, like, I mean, that was one of my first jobs.
Mm-hmm.
He's like,
Mm-hmm.
man, come work the camp. I'm like, work the camp, man. I'm a hooper. I don't know. Just come up here and work, and I'm gonna pay you, and you're gonna pay. All right.
Oh man.
And like Ralph Crowder, and man,
Mm-hmm.
these people, man, they pour so much into us,
Mm-hmm.
and that's who helped shape me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you never know that when you're that young. But
Right.
as I look back, how hard, and as I'm doing some of the same work, that's a lot of work.
Yes. Yes.
Raising money and really making sure everybody's taken care.
Yes.
Because
Mm-hmm.
Charles and Clyde, they didn't, and Mr. Crowder, they didn't leave anybody behind.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you could play basketball or not, they
Mm-hmm.
was always there to uh, support you or give you a kind word or get you to college. Your dad
Mm-hmm.
got me to college, the barber
Mm-hmm.
scholarship,
Mm-hmm.
for basketball. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, always, and there's got to be more of that,
Mm-hmm.
if we're gonna help our youth.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Now, I understand that after you do your Winter Wonderland, you're doing something with the Minnesota Wild. Is that
Oh
true?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So the Minnesota Wild, they're a great supporter.
Mm-hmm.
So they asked me to design their jersey during Black History Month, be the
Oh, okay.
change in. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the jersey, well, I don't know when they're going to release it, but it's going to be during Black History. But they've have invested in our community. Anything I do, they're like behind it. We did a great segment at Capri Theater
Mm-hmm.
on some of the African American great black hockey players.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a group of fifth graders, probably about three schools out. And I didn't know some of this information that
Oh yeah.
black people were some of the first people to start hockey.
Mm-hmm.
So they flew this guy in. and he showed his movie. He had a Q&A with the kids, and I mean, but we need that kind of history lesson, even for
Yeah.
as adults,
Oh yeah.
And but they, I mean, it was an honor for them to ask me, like, "Hey, John, we would love for you to take part in designing our uniform." So we got a chance to design it with a design company called Knock that does some amazing stuff with in the inner city. They're a company that really pours in and helps and does internships, and they recruit within the inner city, and they grow their employees, and so kind of big up the Knock. So they, I talked to them about designing a uniform, because I'm like, I don't know nothing about designing a uniform. So
Mhm.
I called Lily Hall, and I say, Lily, I need some help, man. The Wild asked me to design their uniform. She said, John, I got you. And she sent her design team. It was probably 7 people from their design team. And we met with the Wild, and we went back and forth. And I'm gonna have to get you guys a jersey, when it comes out, man. It's the most amazing jersey that you've ever seen, just representing, African Americans on
Hmm.
ice.
Wow.
Just that, I mean, where you get the energy to do all this?
Man,
Yeah.
sometimes I don't know, but I think, life has been good. I own a couple of small businesses. They do well. So when I think it's your purpose, I hope
Mhm.
this is my purpose, it
Mhm.
comes easy. And then you think of stuff, and then you see those smiles on those families' faces, and and that's where the energy comes in. And you just want to do more and more.
Yeah.
I'm impressed that you got the Mall of America involved, Minnesota Wild. I even saw you the Minnesota Twins
The twin,
outfit.
I do have to say, the
Yeah.
Twins have been a great supporter too. I
Mhm.
mean, and the Timberwolves. Um, it's so funny. So the Twins were like, man, we want you to throw the first pitch. I'm like, I don't know nothing
Yeah.
about no baseball, but I'm really good friends with Tony Oliva. And he
Mhm.
was like, man, John, just come over here. We're gonna practice. That had to be the most nerve
Did you do
wracking
it?
2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, I
Did
did
you do
it.
it? Did you
I
get it
did
over
it.
the plate?
I got it over the plate,
Yeah,
man.
that's
I was
because
like, I need
that's
to really practice. And
no, yeah,
Tony was like, "You're gonna be all right, John. You
that's
gonna be
usually
all
the
right."
main thing,
Yeah,
man, is getting it over the plate. Because when you get out there, you're like, oh man, it's a long way away, man.
it's a
You know,
long
it's
way.
not like when I played Little League. I was like, what is this?
Man, it was a
So
long, and it was a packed house that game. I
yeah.
was like, yeah, but
And believe it or not, they're looking at you,
they
boy.
were,
They are.
they were looking
They are
at me,
looking. They are
and
watching.
Well, they had
but
but
I made it. Actually, Spank was OA was
Yeah,
the
yeah,
catcher
yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay.
for it.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So he's
So that
like,
was good.
yeah. So it was good. It was good,
Well,
man.
you had a good teacher in Tony Oliva.
I had a
They
good
tried
teacher.
that.
You
Tony's.
got that right.
No,
You got one of the best
I
teachers.
got one of
it
the
is.
best
Yeah,
teachers.
for sure.
So and Tony, big ups to Tony Oliva, and man, he supports all our events. He'll come in
That's
the
good.
hood. He'll sign autographs. I mean, he's just been just a great friend. Him and his daughter,
Hmm.
Anita Oliva, and his wife. They really care about our community. And this, I've been surrounded around some great people.
Hmm.
Man.
Never any regrets for you.
No, I wish I would have did this a lot earlier.
Right.
That's about the only regret. But man, life has just been so great. That you know my kids are healthy,
Hmm.
and my family gets to be a part of this. My wife's a great supporter. My
Hmm.
daughters, my sons, so it's just and just the people that I'm meeting around, along the way, it's just been amazing how people are just so willing to get in. Like our Mall of America event, we bring in over 100 volunteers.
Right.
Hmm.
Man, that want to be there.
Hmm.
And a lot of them come from the corporations, some come from the neighborhood, and that's what I think life's about, is connecting everybody together. Whether whatever you believe in, just coming together on a great cause.
With all the things that's been happening, we've had an election that just finished, and people are saying this country is as divided as it may have ever been. But you are trying to make a difference in this. Do you see what you're doing, even if it's on what you feel is not a big deal, but it is, but you feel that can open doors for others to do something similar?
Yeah,
To bring the country, to bring not only our community together, but also bring the city, the country, the world
yeah.
together.
I mean, I just look at Be the Change. I mean, we kind of just walk that thin line, where on both sides, like, I think of it during COVID. When that happened, you didn't care if it was a Republican or a Democrat or what, it was about, man, keeping safe and healthy and how do we get through this, that wasn't that long ago where, you just needed help, you needed support, and it didn't matter if you was white, black, or whatever, I think we kind of got to get back to that, regardless of what other people are thinking, we do have a country to take care of, whether whoever's in office,
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's important for you when you go out and you do your things? Do you think it's important, as a black man, for people to see you, particularly youth, seeing you helping to connect connect people rather than divide them?
Oh man, I think it's very important. And this is just a small analogy of
Mm-hmm.
just kind of just older people helping younger people. I could just look back, and some people who don't know basketball, who don't know where the Northside YMCA is,
Mm-hmm.
when they took out that section where it was for everybody that could play in there. You had one side, it was for the youth, the young and growing up. Do you remember that? Another side, it's like Renee and everybody hooping on the other side, and the young couldn't wait to get over to that loud side, and they would be peeking on the young side to see who's up and coming Khalid's and Jabbar Washington's and and we just don't have that anymore, where the young can look at the older group and be like, man, I want to be over there. I want to be like them, or I want to,
That is very true. It's the same case in St. Paul.
Yeah, at Oxford.
Yeah, and at Oxford and Martin Luther King Center, we would when I was in 7th grade, we'd be on the side and we'd be looking over at Ricky Suggs and them playing, and then there were a couple of young dudes that they were like, "Come on, run!" and we were like, "Oh, he got picked, like he's in 7th grade. He's running with the big boy." Yeah, he got recruited. And
Gerard Hughes.
See, they got recruited now. I never got recruited. I was barely making it on the 7th, 8th grade side. I was got next. I had to get my own team to get it. But you're right though. Then we did have someone to to look to. We inspired by Ricky Suggs and Stacey Robinson. Those guys, we were inspired to go to Central.
Yeah,
and we were inspired to keep that. And it lasted for about like the 80s, where no matter what year we played at Central, we knew somebody that played. If it was 83 where I graduated, I knew 89. I knew David Hallman and Gerard.
Yeah.
We had that connection, and that they're just like you guys had the connections with all the North players, and that is missed.
Yeah,
that is missed big time.
Yeah, and I know that's kind of a crazy analogy, but that played a big part in a lot of people's lives.
Yeah.
Where they had those older role models to look up to.
Yes. Yes.
Well, did you get any? You're dealing with not only the schools, but you also got to deal with district officials and trying to get everything lined up and all the T's crossed and the I's dotted. Was there any frustration moments with any obstacles that you had that was so hard to deal with that you maybe say, maybe this is not something that we can do right now?
Man, I'm telling you, I mean, the Latricia Wards and those people have been just man, they've been awesome. They come, they Bobby Joe champions, been like a real champion.
Mm-hmm.
Johan, I'm no, I haven't, man. The mayor, like even the mayor of Golden Valley, because where theater work sits, it sits in
Mm-hmm.
between Minneapolis,
Mm,
man.
mm,
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, man, this is just awesome, man. Today is the September 7th is Be the Change Day. So I mean, they've named the day after Be the Change, amen.
Mm-hmm.
And but man, we've really not had any roadblocks. Knock on wood, but everybody's just been so gracious, and they know what we're doing, and just even some of the nonprofits. If I could talk about that real quick, the smaller nonprofits were
Yeah.
able to support.
Mm-hmm.
Man, even them, man, it's so good to give somebody $5,000 or $10,000 to help them with their true mission without them having to go through all this red tape,
Mm-hmm.
and introducing them to a person they couldn't get to.
mm,
So, our relationships with the corporations are really good, and just able to make that connection because some smaller we're not doing the work, like Mother's Love and
Mm-hmm.
mm,
to give them a grant, it was just awesome. Lisa's doing some great work to be a first responder.
yeah,
People don't know, man.
mm,
When the police respect you that much, when they call you first to go out there, these strong black women,
mhm,
you know, I mean, that just does something for me, man. To be able to help and support and not make them go through a bunch of hoops when I mean, no one understands like me being from North Minneapolis that our kids need help now. They don't have time to wait 6 months or 3 months to fill out this. No, this money is going to help these kids to stay in school, not get on drugs, not join these gangs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and sometimes people got a different perspective. They just need to see numbers, and you got to be work. No,
mm,
it's very organic, and it's something that needs to happen now. And you can't really explain it, but it doesn't always work. With numbers and um, going through all the red tape. We got to support these smaller nonprofits because they're the ones that are not going to turn ahead.
mhm.
They're going to go ahead and pick that kid up.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the you mentioned Mother's Love? What other nonprofits that you've touched
man,
upon and done
so
raising for?
we've worked with Mother's Love. We've worked with Girls Code. We've worked with Baby, Build a Better You. It's a mental health
Mm,
um, nonprofit that they're doing some amazing work at PYC. That's one of our schools that no one wants to work with, but this guy named Charles, very very passionate leader. He took this mission on himself. He's like, man, I'm gonna work with these kids that people have thrown away and gave up on. So he's doing a lot of mental health work with these kids and making them feel like somebody. I mean, our list goes on. We've been doing it for 5 years. And I mean, over in St. Paul, we gave Mickey Frost a grant.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and
Mickey.
man, I've known Mickey for a while, and
Mickey.
he's grinding and doing some great
He's doing
work.
some real good
He's
things.
doing some great
Yes,
work.
he
So
is.
we wanted to reach out to him and be like, hey, Mickey, we want to support you on what you're doing.
mhm,
But I mean, it's just like I said, there's so many nonprofits that we're working with. We only have so much funding that we're able to go out and get,
Mm-hmm.
because we don't really get grants or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Minneapolis Foundation, that's like our fiscal agent. They've been like wonderful with us. They've been some champions with us and kind of riding the whole way with us.
mhm.
But I mean, there's all kinds of nonprofits, smaller nonprofits that we work with, and we hope we can continue that work because to us it's important that we support these guys, we give them exposure, and not
Mm-hmm.
just the money. We connect them with the bigger corporations, and we cut out the middleman.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really proud of you, John, because I think that like you said, there's people that say they'll do it. They look how big the job is maybe that's not me, or they give it, or someone else could do it.
Yeah.
And I know my retired pastor always said, when you always say someone else will do it, someone else will be in heaven before you,
Yeah.
because somebody else will do it, and so that somebody else will be there
Yeah.
because you just kept passing to somebody else.
Exactly.
And so, but you decided to stop it at your stop,
Yeah.
and you went on and did some things, and I believe that there's people watching you, and the people are learning from what you're doing, that will continue that work in whatever ways whatever mission that they choose to walk. Maybe not particularly in your path, but find a path that they're comfortable with and continue to work, because that's community building. That's what we all want to do in some sort of fashion, and because you never want to say woulda, shoulda, coulda. You don't want to say, yeah, I did it, in some sort of fashion.
Yeah. I mean, just growing up with, like I said, North Minneapolis, Hospitality House, man, those programs are not around,
Mm-hmm.
basically Hospitality House like raised me,
Mm-hmm.
and they connected me with sports, God, and um and many other things that my mom's was a single mother, and she didn't know about sports, she didn't know about a young man, but I mean people were able to fill that gap. That's why I could hope I can extend my hand and do that for whoever I can too.
Yeah. Um, you played a little b-ball in high school. Um, did your athletic experience in any way you think like helped contribute to what you're doing today?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Of course, I played for North High, and at that time, North was like a powerhouse,
Oh yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
I don't even think we had a pro team then.
No.
No.
We
We
didn't
didn't
have
we
a
didn't
pro
get we didn't get the Timberwolves until '89.
we didn't have a pro team. I don't even think the Gophers were at that
Gophers
time
was still trying.
trying to
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's where everybody came was to see the Polars, at that time,
True.
or Central,
True.
But I think I got to know a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Our team was really good. I think even at that time, our team might have been like 12th or 8th in the country, at
Mm-hmm.
the time.
Yeah.
And it just exposed me to a whole group of other people,
Mm-hmm.
that would be at those games.
Yeah.
So I think that played a big part.
Okay.
Then you went to college.
Yeah.
Talk about your college experience.
So, like I said, Kwame got me up to Barber Scotia, in North Carolina.
Yeah.
It was a small Division II, but I mean, it was a great experience. But when I got there, I think smallpox or some kind of pandemic broke out.
Mm-hmm.
We practiced, and then the season was like done because we
Yeah.
couldn't travel anymore. But
Yep.
just being away from home, that was my first time being in the South like that. I was like, man, this is different,
Yeah, it's a
but
different ball.
it was a good difference. So, I did like a year there and I just came back. And then that was kind of like my whole basketball
Mm-hmm.
experience. And then just started working and going to school. And and that was I basically started working like in the school systems after that. So I did like maybe 27 years in the school system.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to Northwestern. I graduated from Northwestern
Okay.
and with my master's and my undergrad.
Okay.
Then I went to Bethel's to get my doctorate.
Okay.
Yep.
A doctorate in what?
Education.
Education. Okay.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Got a EDD. All right.
Yep. So which it was a battle, but hey,
No,
I
it's
made it
not.
there.
It's not easy.
It's not easy.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Especially at Bethel now.
Bethel, yeah, it's not.
It's
Yeah,
not
that's for
easy.
sure.
It wasn't easy, but it makes me feel good, just getting it. And as my kids too, my daughter, she's getting her doctorates now.
Okay.
She's also like the principal of Minnehaha, the assistant principal.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's I really don't have any complaints, man. My kids are good. My wife is good.
How many children you have?
I have three kids. And I have a son that's 32. I have a daughter that's 31, and I have a son that's 18. And he's at Blake. And he played basketball, but he played soccer, um, basketball, and golf.
Okay.
Yeah, so and I think I was telling you, Mitch, this year he was also up for Mr. Soccer.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep. Yeah.
that's pretty. That's
Yeah.
pretty. It's pretty interesting when you think about how good you were in basketball, and then he's good in soccer and play. He played the other sports, but
Yeah.
he excelled in that. That must have been pretty exciting, though.
Yeah.
I'm
No.
pretty sure.
Yep. It's been a great haul for him,
Mm-hmm.
sports wise, and yeah, he's had a great career in sports. You know.
Well, that's good. And so you're doing good. Your family's doing good. Life is great, huh?
Life, life is really great, man. And yeah, so if people want to go to our website, it's BeTheChangeMN.com, because if you don't put the M in, it's about 1,000 Be the
Be the
Change
changes.
to
Yeah.
show up. So
Oh yeah.
BeTheChangeMN.com, and just check out some of the stuff we're doing. And we always want good people to get involved, and we just want to make it easy.
Gotcha. Now, Dr. Baker, we always offer our guests an opportunity to speak to our listeners and viewers, to share with them, as we call, pearls of wisdom. Anything that you want to have them know or learn or go away with, that they can pack it into their life toolbox. So we'll give you that opportunity
Yeah,
to speak.
I would just say, I think it all just starts by just doing a little something, whether it's volunteering or just checking on someone or just putting a little effort into our community.
Mm-hmm.
But just sitting by the wayside and kind of cheering from the sidelines, I don't think you could ever get anything done. So um, you just got to take that leap of faith. And, you might not think you're really helping, but
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of think about some of my volunteers, man. When they come, that's what makes my events. They're built on volunteers. So, I mean, an hour, 15 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, just try it, and you will make a difference.
Thank you, Dr. Baker.
Yeah.
Really, I
No,
gotta get used.
man.
I got used to calling you.
No, I gotta get used to it. Mitch almost had a heart attack when I sent him my resume.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, you're doctoral. You left something out. You left something out. We were talking, brother.
But
No.
no, but we both are very proud of you and the things that you've done.
Yes, we
I
are.
mean, we didn't know half the stuff that you just talked about, so you gave us an education.
No, man.
But we definitely proud of you because you chose to do some things in your community, which some people just they get what they get and they go someplace else. You
Yeah.
chose to stay and do some things, and because of that, you planted seeds that's now grown and
Yeah.
you can harvest and continue to harvest as we move forward.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you guys for having me on. Thank you.
Oh. And that is our episode of Blacklight on Sports for this week. I'm Dr. Mitchell Palmer-McDonald.
I'm Charles Hallman, and thank you for joining us. And please read us in the newspaper every week, and please join us again. Thank you.